This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, and welcome to Validity Homework for Personnel class. And I'm going to run through quickly how you would run this data and interpret it. So the questions that are being asked are, question number 2 tells me how much variance in performance is accounted for by cognitive ability alone. And then number 3, how much incremental variance is explained by adding personality. That lets me know we have a hierarchical regression with cognitive ability in the first block and personality in the second block. And we can see this Wonderlic personnel test represented by WPT is the cognitive ability, and Perform is the written performance test. And then it's also important to notice it says run regression analysis to determine if cognitive ability and the big 5 personality constructs at time 1 predict performance. So right away, look at my data set here. Here's time 1, here's WPT, and here's performance. So I'm going to run a regression, analyze regression linear. So my dependent is this written performance. Cognitive ability should be in block 1, so I put that in and click next. Then I need to get the 5 components of personality in the second block. I want to go to statistics and click confidence intervals, descriptives, and R-square change. And continue. Actually, I'm going to also hit Durbin-Watson, make sure, and collinearity statistics, just to make sure I don't have any violations. And then hit OK. All right. And what I see here is that conscientiousness has the biggest 0 order correlation. The next is cognitive ability. The next is extroversion. Openness is not significant, and neuroticism is approaching significance. Okay. So I come down here and look at my models. Model 1. So to answer this question, let me see if I can get this shorter. Really, we should answer question number 2 first. And what I want to say here is how much variance is accounted for cognitive ability alone, and that is model 1. So when I look, it's 15% of the variance of performance is accounted for by cognitive ability, comma, R square. And I want you to see where I'm getting this from. Model 1, R square. That's where I got the 16%. Actually, I'm sorry, that should be 16. My R square is 0.16. I know it's significant because this F and P test here tell me that it is. So F, my degrees of freedom are 1 and 94 from over here. My F equals 17.31, and my P is less than 0.001. Okay, then the third question is how much incremental variance is explained by adding personality? And incremental variance always means the change in R square. So if I want to know what cognitive ability and personality are together, it's 0.33. If I want to know what personality is alone, it's 0.17 right here. And so I'm going to read everything along this line to report. Oops. Personality adds 17% of incremental variance above and beyond cognitive ability, comma R square. You need to look for the change symbol. I'm just going to type it out here. 0.17. F is 5 and 89 are my degrees of freedom, equals 4.46. P is not less than 0.001 because it is 001, so I'm going to put less than 0.01. Are these significant? Yes. What is your regression equation? Now remember here, we're only going to read out of the second box, right? So let me scroll this up here now and this back up. Okay, I do want to go back and answer question number 1 now. I feel like these should have been reordered. What can you determine about the relationships, positive or negative, of the predictors to the criterion? So we're only going to interpret this second box here, and we look down. Cognitive ability is predictive and it's positive. Agreeableness is not. Conscientiousness is predictive, significant. Extroversion is. Neuroticism is not, and openness is not. So what I would say here is, what's my strongest one? If I look at my beta weight, what's the biggest number? And it says 2.84. So I would say conscientiousness was the strongest significant predictor of performance. And then you want to make your symbol for the big B equals 0.28, comma, T, my degrees of freedom for this are, let me look back up to, it's going to be this residual here in this second model, it's 89. And the T value actually equals 2.90, and that's because I'm rounding up. Comma, P is less than 0.01 because it is 0.005. Okay, so next, the next biggest one is cognitive ability. Cognitive ability was the second strong, oops, I forgot to say what it means, hold on. Okay, because this is positive, I'm going to say the higher the score of conscientiousness, the higher the score of performance. And here, I'm just going to copy all this again because it's a positive relationship. Put it here. And my B for that is 0.22. So I'm going to change that. My degrees of freedom is the same, but the T value is 2.33. So I'm going to change that there. And this is not as significant, so I'm going to change this to a 5. The higher score of cognitive ability, and you guys are going to write this out, I'm just abbreviating here, the higher the score of performance. Lastly, extroversion. And again, I'm just going to copy this. And then I'm going to say extroversion was the third strongest predictor of performance. That B is 0.21. And my T is 2.17. And the significance stays the same. Okay, the higher the score of extroversion, the higher the score of performance. Okay, so those are my relationships. They're all positive. There was a negative relationship, but that seemed initially, but that seemed to have changed once all the variance was accounted for. Let me just look and see. None of my VIF statistics look off. There's no collinearity. And let's see, where's my Durbin Watson? Oh, there it is. That's not as close to 2 as I would like, indicating some autocorrelation, which is really a fault of how the study was set up, whether somebody was tested twice. But there's nothing we can do about that. I'm just pointing it out. Okay, so now back to the work of writing the regression equation. So performance equals B, you would subscript that, plus, what am I thinking? Hold on. You actually put it in there. The constant is 10.675. You go to 3 decimal points here, as you remember from stats class. And we're going to use the unstandardized coefficient, so 0.45. And that is the Wonderlic personnel test plus 0.269 agreeableness. And remember, we're going to put in all of them because the equation does not work without all of them. 0.482 times conscientiousness plus 0.463 extroversion plus 0.035 neuroticism and plus 0.123 openness to experience. And you want to write all those out nicely. So what can you conclude about this validation study? That is that personality does provide incremental variance because it's adding almost the same, a little bit stronger than the cognitive ability. So what would you recommend if both of them are strong predictors? All right, and that is all that I have. Thanks for watching.